Today's date is 11 March 2018, and the topic of this video will be the enemies of Ali ibn Abi Talib, alayhi salam, may peace be upon him, the first Imam in the legitimate sect of Islam. Ali ibn Abi Talib had many enemies and many supporters. Unfortunately, during his lifetime, his enemies conspired against him on so many different occasions and in so many different ways that his administration of the Islamic government, or what the majority sect, who refer to themselves as Sunnis but who do not have exclusive rights to that title, called the Khalifa or the Caliphate, his administration was short-lived because, again, so many so-called companions conspired against him. Now, from the very beginning, after the death of the Prophet Muhammad, may peace and blessings be upon him and his progeny, so many Muslims wanted to start their own form of governance, and some apostatized, some left the faith. But one of Ali ibn Abi Talib's most diehard enemies was one of the wives of the Prophet Muhammad. And according to the majority sect of Muslims, anyone who the Prophet, in one of their traditions, and even though we don't hold their traditions to be valid, we don't adhere to their hadith books, this Sahih Muslim and Bukhari, we don't adhere to their doctrines, but one of their traditions say that the Prophet said that whoever is an enemy or whoever hates something to the effect of whoever hates Ali is a non-believer, is not a Muslim. And Aisha hated Ali ibn Abi Talib, which is why she encouraged her father to usurp Ali ibn Abi Talib. At the death of the Prophet in 632 AD, the Ansar wanted to start their own government, and they met for that purpose. Abu Bakr and Umar barged in. Umar ibn Al-Khattab barged in on the meeting in order that they assert themselves over the Ansar. And their rationale behind their coup, or their imposing themselves, their leadership on the Ansar, was that if the community was divided, it would continue to fracture till Muslims would pretty much disappear, because they would be attacked from without and from within. You would have internal conflict. But also, at the encouragement of Aisha for her father's claim. But Umar was the real coup leader, because Abu Bakr didn't have the capacity to assert himself over the Ansar. The majority sect Muslims hold Umar in high esteem as a warrior, yet when compared to Ali ibn Abi Talib, his credentials as a warrior are minuscule. For example, there are no examples of him defending the Prophet from enemies, no legitimate examples. There's no examples of him winning in single combat. Ali ibn Abi Talib and Hamza and others fought many idolaters and pagans in single combat and won the battles. At least I could think of at least 23 times that I've read that Ali ibn Abi Talib fought on behalf of the Prophet and won in single combat. He never lost. There's no record of Umar doing anything similar. In fact, they retreated from the battlefield on at least one occasion. Now, but Umar was actually capable when it came to beating up women. He, for example, before he became Muslim, he beat a Muslim woman to the point where she became blind. Also, excuse me, never mind. Let's get back to the coup. What ended up happening was the Ansar elected a leader, but under the threat of violence from Abu Bakr and Umar and their co-conspirators, the Ansar surrendered to their authority. And the remainder of the Muslim community that did not fight against Abu Bakr in the Ridda Wars, also known as the Wars of Apostasy, the Muslims who stayed in the camp of Islam under Abu Bakr were opposed by apostates and Muslims who disagree with Abu Bakr. Sunnis like to call that a Shura Council, but when you study the actual supposed Shura Council, it was actually a coup. Interestingly, Abu Bakr was advanced in his age and he died 2 years later, and he handed over leadership to Umar. One might wonder what happened to the Democratic Shura Council that was supposed to take place. There was no such council. All of these individuals used force. So when the Abu Bakr's rule was established through force, through coercion, through threats of violence if you didn't adhere to his leadership. And Ali ibn Abi Talib and Fatima, the daughter of the Prophet Muhammad, may peace and blessings be upon them all, were no exception. They were all threatened, including the grandsons of the Prophet Muhammad, who he said would be the leaders of the youth of paradise. They were all threatened and told that their house would be burned down with them in it if they didn't submit to Abu Bakr's rule. Interestingly, Ali ibn Abi Talib didn't give bay'ah, which is a pledge of allegiance to Abu Bakr, until 6 months after the coup d'etat pulled off by Abu Bakr, which again was really Umar's coup because he knew that Abu Bakr wasn't going to live long. He was advanced in his age, and it was really to install himself. On an interesting note, one of the early sects of what came to be called Sunni Muslims, the Mu'tazila, most of them agreed that Abu Bakr, because the majority sect of Muslims have this notion that Abu Bakr was the best Muslim, and then after him, Umar, and then after him, Uthman. There was a Mu'tazila who was of the opinion that even if you were to pretend that Abu Bakr had more faith or more piety than Ali, and Umar was braver and better in battle and defended the Muslims better, and I forget what credit he gave to Uthman, but he said, even if you were to consider it that way, Ali had all the characteristics in one person, so they may have been better than him. And this is not my saying, because I don't agree with this at all. It's just an observation. But even he said, since Ali possessed all the qualities in a high amount, he was better than them by that merit, that he had the piety that Umar didn't have, and he had the warrior prowess that Abu Bakr didn't have. Unfortunately for Ali, he was opposed on too many different sides. He had Aisha try to, once he did become caliph, first off, it was by popular demand. He was happily retired, but the title was foisted upon him by many Muslims, including Talha and Zubair, who later said that they were forced to give bay'ah to him under duress. But you had Aisha instigate them into fighting what is known as the Battle of the Camel against Ali. And later on, he was opposed by Muawiyah. Keep in mind that one of their traditions says whoever hates Ali is an infidel and isn't a true Muslim. Aisha hated Ali ibn Abi Talib, but they hold her in high regard. A woman who sought the death of Ali on the battlefield via her relatives, and also in turn, because don't forget, the Prophet's grandsons were fighting alongside their father. So she instigated people to fight against and possibly kill the family of the Prophet Muhammad. That's it for now.